Hello everyone, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I did receive some of the packs in this speed build for free from the EA Creator Network. However, most of them I bought myself. So, I decided to do another farm. I know, I get stuck doing one type of build and then I just do a bunch of them. But like once the inspiration strikes, it's like there and gnawing at me until I get all the different iterations that I can come up with out of my head, and I just have to build them all. I have a couple more farms in the works for you, but I promise I'll take a break from posting farms. I'll post a couple of other things first, and then we'll do some more farms. This one started off as a limited pack speed build thingy, but I messed up. So, somewhere along the line here, you're going to see me working on stuff. You're going to see stuff placed, and then all of a sudden it's going to cut, and the lighting is going to change, and some of the stuff that was there was not there anymore, and some of the stuff that is there is moved. It's a whole long story, but to make it as short and sweet as I possibly can, basically, I made a goof. I was too lazy to make a new sim to test out another lot that I was working on. So I went to the what do you call it? Like the world the world manager map, and I moved Grace out. She was on this lot because it was going to be a limited budget, limited pack. Not really a starter farm, more like the next step up from a starter farm. Not quite a full, like working, functioning, needing like ranch hands and all that kind of stuff farm, but like a family farm, one step up from a starter farm. That was kind of the idea for this build. And I moved her out because I was, again, too lazy to make another sim or grab another sim. I just went to the world management screen, moved her out, and if you know anything about Sims and the world management screen, you can already hear where I went wrong. I moved her out of this lot and put her in the other lot that I was testing. And I came back to this lot and everything was gone. Everything that goes with a sim when they move out was gone. Completely gone. I had to start over basically. So, I don't know the reasoning behind it, and I don't know specifically every single object. I know more or less basically all objects when your Sims move out disappear. Like they go with your Sim. And that was true for this. Essentially, all that was left was the garden bed things, the house with its wallpapers and floors. I ended up erasing the wallpapers and the paints and everything. What else? I think the horse bed was still in the goat shed. That is a small shed for mini goats and mini sheep. It's not meant for a horse. I have found through extensive playtesting that the mini goats and mini sheep seem to, at least from my experience, they seem to like sleeping on the horse bed. I'm not sure if it was purposely programmed that way or what, but they seem to like sleeping on that. Like, I couldn't ever get them to sleep in the little shed that I made for them until I put the horse bed down, and then they would not always, but sometimes choose to sleep inside the shed. A lot of times they do still sleep outside on the ground, especially if you have seasons and it's warm outside. It appears as though they will choose to sleep outside. Anyways, the part where I went wrong was I moved her out. I didn't evict her. If you evict your sim from the Manage World screen, then everything will stay put just as you had it. Nothing will move with your sim. All of your furniture and everything will stay put. You know what's really weird is I believe the bird tree and the rabbit stump stayed put, even though those are technically furniture pieces. Also, I believe the chicken coop stayed put as well. You know, I might do some testing to see exactly which items stay and which go. I can maybe kind of understand the chicken coop staying put. Like, it makes some vague sense in my head, but I don't understand. I guess because the stumps would naturally be there, it makes sense that they stay. I mean, that in real life it makes sense that they would stay, but in the Sims, like the plant sim stump, I'm pretty sure that disappeared. What else disappeared? Basically everything disappeared. You'll see in a minute where anything is missing is everything that went when I moved Grace out. Anyways, if you evict your Sims instead of moving them out, everything will stay put. If you move them, however, they take all their furniture with them. And that's where I made my mistake. So I basically had to do the greater majority of this lot all over again because I already had the inside decorated. The only things that I had left to do were the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom. That's it. Everything else was done. I can't believe I made such a stupid mistake like that to ruin the entire build because I was being lazy. No, I can believe it, actually. I can absolutely believe it. That seems like something I would do. Anyways, like I said in the beginning, it's a step-up farm. It's not a big, fully functioning farm. It is meant to be simple and off-the-grid living. It is meant for your Sims to have to completely live off the land and use solar power and the insects and the power generator to create electricity, and use the water catcher for water as well as collecting water from streams and whatever lakes, wherever else you can collect water. You can see here. So there are some things that look like they are very close to, if not in the same exact spot as before. Namely those tree planters, because that side of the farm is supposed to be fruit trees, like an orchard. I put the tree planters there so that I could put terrain paint to kind of look like a walking path through there, but also so that people got the idea that they're supposed to plant fruit trees over there. You don't have to keep them in the planters. You don't have to keep the planters at all. It's just like a placeholder, if you will. But the reason why I don't like putting plants already grown in my builds is because a lot of my builds are aimed at early game and early game Sims who might not have all of their skills up yet. And so the point is that they need to acquire the seeds and the fruits and everything to get these plants, and then they need to work up their skills to get higher and higher in the gardening. And not just gardening, but with other things too. You just notice it more with gardening because you either have already grown like high quality plants that you can get off of the gallery. I don't ever see any like normal quality plants. Everybody uploads like really high quality plants and they upload like everything. It's not aimed at a starter farm or a small time farm. It's more aimed at cheating your way into the more rare plants and the higher quality stuff, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I've used them plenty of times. I just aim my builds? What? I can't even speak. My builds at starter sims and starter lower end farms. I could, if I wasn't so lazy, just get a bunch of starter plants, put them together, and save the room to my library. But honestly, I never think of it until I'm doing the voiceover for a farm build. And then it's like, why didn't I do that? Because I'm not smart. That's why. Anyways, I also put a little greenhouse on the side of the house so that your Sims, if they couldn't harvest everything, and I know not every plant is available over there, and I do know some of the plants will continue to grow outside or produce things outside in the winter. Not many though, I don't think. I really don't think it's very many of them, maybe a few. But there, I put a little greenhouse, almost like a 3 seasons or 4 seasons room on the side of the house there, that you can have your Sims plant some select stuff in to get them through the winter if they didn't harvest enough over the spring, summer, and fall. Because the point is, this is supposed to be a challenge lot, and you're supposed to live completely off of either grocery shopping or growing your own food. And I know that a lot of the recipes for various types of foods call for a fruit. Not a specific type of fruit, but just any fruit. You know what I mean? So it can come from an apple tree or it can come from a strawberry bush. So for recipes like that, in those cases, you can plant a few things in that little greenhouse and your Sims can get through the later part of the winter. Most of the time, my Sims, when I'm playing this way, they don't have much trouble if they harvest everything every day. They don't have much trouble getting through the winter, but they don't have a lot of money. So, granted, when you're living off the land and you're not paying for electricity and stuff, you don't need a ton of money. You really actually don't. And they can sell some of their baked goods on their sales table outside and stuff. That's what that's for, by the way. I would love if someday they gave us market stands, like farmers market stands that look like or are made more for selling individual food items. Think like crates that you can put apples in, or tables that you can lay your foods out on but not all spread apart, where they're more densely packed together so you can have more of them out there. If you've ever been to an outdoor market of any kind where they're selling fresh produce, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. I would love if they included that, even if it was just in a kit. I would love if they included little market stands for fresh food for our farmer sims to sell their fresh food, and it goes along with the base game pretty well. As far as I can tell, you don't have every plant available. There are some things specifically that came with outdoor retreat and cottage living that I can think of. Those might be the only two, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. No, there might be another pack that included growable food. I just can't remember what it was now. Maybe Jungle Adventures? That might have potentially been one. Anyways, point is, a kit with market stands to sell fresh produce, like at a yard sale type of thing, would be really awesome and would fit really well with the base game, because there are plenty of plants in the base game alone for your Sims to grow, harvest, and sell. So I think that would be cool. And with the new Nature's Calling event coming out, we pretty much have it confirmed that fairies will be the next pack, and stuff having to do with forests and nature and all that kind of stuff. I can't imagine there being too many more growable, harvestable foods for them to add. Maybe there are. We have quite a variety as it is, but maybe there's something more they can add. But I could imagine a situation where they could potentially include market stands with a pack like that. Now, do I think that it's going to come with that? Probably not. But maybe in a similar future pack, we might get something like that potentially. Honestly, though, you can tell if you've been around my channel a while, you can tell I love the country living, farm living, naturey, eco-friendly lifestyle stuff a lot. Like that's my big thing in the game. I love that. There's also the part of me that loves San Myshuno and being in the big city, but I always try to include some urban farming when I have Sims living there too. So you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. So yeah, it's like my big thing in the game is basically being a farmer, because honestly, as a child, that's what I wanted to grow up and be, was a farmer. And then people kept telling me you have to slaughter the animals, and I was like, no, you don't, they can just be your friends. And they're like, that's not how farms work. And I'm like, maybe I don't want to be a farmer after all. But, the idea of being a farmer is still a nice one. The realities may not be so, but anyways, point is, I love all naturey gardening, farming stuff, but I am getting a little tired of it, and I do think, at least temporarily, and with the new pack coming out, we have plenty of naturey, farmy, gardening kind of stuff right now. I can see adding more in the future, but for now we have enough. And we need to do maybe that cyber city thing next time, or like bands or whatever. So yeah, and let's do the walkthrough now. I'm very sorry about this. I hit play and I didn't realize it was about to start raining, so it was very dark. I'm very terribly sorry about that, but you can still see the farm here. The goat slash sheep shed where you can get wool. Well, you don't have to have sheep, and I didn't include any of the knitting stuff or anything, But if you want to, you can put sheep in there along with the goats. I specifically made it for goats for milk, and they need less room than the cows. And then, of course, the chicken coop, because if you're going to be growing all of your own food and cooking all of your own food yourself, you need milk and eggs. Then, like I said, on the other side of the farm, we have a fruit tree area, kind of, like an orchard type of thing. And you saw the front garden there and the sales table. This is just the entryway with coat closet. And then the kitchen, dining, living room space here. Small but cozy. Plenty of space to store all of your stuff and expand as the children get older. And then you have the parents' bedroom here, very pink and flowery and naturey. And then you have the kids' bedroom. No particular reason why I went purple with this one. I just thought I'd be different. It didn't include the bathroom in the speed build portion, but that's because it's just a basic bathroom. And there's that. And then here's a closer look at the garden room. What's it called? Greenhouse. Here's a closer look at the little greenhouse. And there you have it. I think it turned out really cute, but I promise I will not do any more farm builds for a while. I will do some other stuff for a little bit. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!